Hello everyone and welcome to Be Inspired, which is Blue Balloon Theatre's new series of podcasts, and the clue is in the title. It is there to inspire you, to give you a little bit of creative motivation, and we've got loads of special guests lined up for you. And our first guest is the wonderful Jenny McIntyre. Hello.
Come on, give it to me, give it to me.
Woo, go Jenny. Oh, how are you?
I'm all right. I'm okay.
Just about hanging in there, which is
yeah. I think I've got like 1% sanity left in my system.
You know what? I feel that. I feel that. It's been a weird start to the year.
It has, and January lasted for like 5 years in itself. So
yeah. January was an all right year, but yeah.
It snowed so much. I can't get over how much it snowed.
Didn't it? I've never had so many snow days in 1 month.
And you're not even at school anymore, so you can't even appreciate it. We're like, oh, snow day off school.
Oh, it's
just like, oh, snow, I can't go out anywhere, so. I do like sitting and watching it and being like, like, it looks cold out there, I'll stay here with a hot chocolate.
Oh, hot chocolate. I might have a hot chocolate later.
You should.
Tired already.
Oh, there you go. You got mini marshmallows as well.
Oh yeah, obviously. So Jenny, for anyone watching this that might not know who you are, would you like to
Scandal?
Absolute scandal. Would you like to tell us?
Possible.
It's not possible. So for the maybe 1% of viewers that don't know who you are, would you like to tell us who you are?
I shall. Hello, 1% viewer. I'm Jenny McIntyre. I'm an actor as well, you know, whichever label I'm feeling this day. I'm also a writer. I write odd bits every now and again. General weird creative who just wants to be paid some money to do what she loves. Thank you. Thanks.
That was exceptional.
Thanks. I hate when someone's like, tell us about yourself, and I'm like,
oh, I know. I think that's the question that a lot of actors dread, because especially in an audition setting, like you forget, you go, my name is, what's my name?
Rebecca Fritz.
It's crazy.
Yeah. No,
that's a great introduction, actually. It was very actory, but in a good way.
It was, yeah. Person, I'm just a general weirdo.
Yeah, I can vouch for that, actually.
Yeah, quite lanky. Likes squid arms a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, just not the camera. Well done. A bit weird. There you go. That's it.
We're off to a flying start.
I mean, I'm inspired by myself already. So
yeah, that's quite a talent, I would say, if you can inspire yourself.
With my squid arms.
Oh yeah, always with the squid arms. Makes sense. So Jenny, I kind of wanted to talk to you about various different things today because, as you said, you're an actor. You're also a bit of a writer, and you also co-founded your own theatre company, Bobo Theatre. And so there's so many different things that we can discuss today, which is amazing. But I guess a really nice place to start is acting and sort of your journey with it, because everyone's is so different. And I kind of wanted to ask you sort of how your training went, if you trained and where you trained, and sort of how it's been since you graduated. Like, how's it been for you?
Oh, where do I begin? It's weird actually, because you know, so many people are like, they knew when they were 3 it was all they were going to do, acting was all they were going to do. And I think I didn't really know, like we never really did it at primary school. We did bits and bobs like in the church. Like I never got to be Mary, just again another scandal in my life.
Scandal.
Hello, lanky Mary here. Come on. I wasn't the donkey though, before you get any ideas.
Oh, thank God for that. I was worried.
Yeah, and I remember actually I asked my mum about this a lot, and she says when I was in the Brownies, there was just one random night where they just got a group of us and asked us to just create a short piece about anything. And all I remember is putting on this, what I would now consider a dodgy Australian accent, and basically calling myself Bruce. And and we were in the jungle and we got stuck in a swamp or something. And I was like, oh, Bruce, I'll help you get out.
Oh my God.
And my mum said she remember watching it and be like, where's this come from? Like,
so
I think she was both shocked and also like,
yeah, like
before that I hadn't really done much apart from the odd bit and gone, oh, I quite like this. And then I sort of grew in high school, and then I started getting involved in all like we started off doing musicals and stuff, like the big high school productions you do.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I want to do it for GCSE. And then I was like, I want to do it for A-level. And then I was like, I want to do it at uni. But then I was always like, I'll do drama in English, because I wasn't quite ready to fully commit to the acting. And I was like, oh, if I do drama in English, then it means I've got something to fall back on, because that's all you get taught growing up is have something to fall back on, you need to have something to fall back on.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then again, it wasn't until my mum was like, you don't really want to do English though, do you? You just want to do drama. And I was like, yeah. And then got to uni. Uni was great. It taught me a lot. I can't believe I'm going to say this live, but sorry, University of Manchester, the course didn't teach me that much.
Fair enough.
Just in terms of, because it was so theoretical, and that's how it was sold to us. And I thought, oh, that's great, because it's educational and all that. It wasn't until like halfway through second year, and I started got really involved with Musical Theatre Society, and I went, I just want to act. I don't want to do all this theory stuff anymore. I just want to act. Yeah. So then I literally threw myself and did everything I could, and did all the musicals, and was trying to just do everything. And much to my teachers' dismay, when they were like, you're doing too much, your work's good and stuff. I was like, no, I don't care. I was like, all right. They were like, you're not going to get first. I was like, no, I don't care. I was like, can I do the musical? No, great.
Priorities.
Yeah, exactly. And then third year, there was a few of us in my year who went to audition for drama schools. And I didn't do many, because I was a poor student, and paying for travel and auditions was just a lot, especially in third year when you've done 3 years of uni and you're poor all the time. So I've done 3 drama school auditions. I think I've done Arts Ed, Alra, and Royal Welsh, and didn't get them at all. And then it wasn't until I went, I think it was Arts Ed audition, and someone told me about Fourth Monkey, and I was like, what's that? I've never heard of that. So I looked them up, and then they were doing auditions till like end of May, I think. And so I think I was like one of the last audition days, and I went, I read all their stuff, and I was like, this sounds really cool. This sounds just right up my street. There was no like hardly any written work. Like there was no essays you had to do. It was just like keeping a journal of everything you've done. And I was like, I can do that. Went to the audition day. It was the most relaxed I've felt walking into an audition. It was just like having a nice big chat, and then doing the monologues and stuff. And they reworked one of your monologues and redirected it. I remember making a right tit of myself though, because I was doing Tamara's speech, and then the wonderful Amy Sayers said tomorrow, and I thought she was saying tomorrow because the recall was like it would have been tomorrow the next day. So I thought she was saying let's work on it tomorrow, but she was trying to let's work on tomorrow, and I was going, can you say that again? She kept saying it, and I went, can you just say it one more time? And she went, and you tomorrow speech, and I went, oh my god, I thought you were saying tomorrow, and I was getting really excited, like, woo, I'm back.
Oh my god.
And then, but I mean, they recalled me, and then which was great because it was basically you knew it was a weekend in London, so I knew I'd have to stay overnight anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And then recall on the Sunday, and then I think it was the Monday or the Tuesday that they offered me a place. So it was so nice. It was so short a time, you know, you weren't like waiting for like weeks trying to listen back. So then went there as soon as I finished uni, like a couple of months later, went down to London, did a year there, and it was just so good. I missed it so much. Yeah. The training we had was amazing. The practitioners we had were incredible. Like there's just so much I learned that I still use to this day. Clowning is one of the most terrifying, but one of the most educational in terms of both acting and as a person you'll ever learn about yourself. Like, and Stephen Sobel is, that man's a genius, as much as I hate to say that, because it will go to his head. He's just incredible, and just, although I think it's one of those though that everyone cries in, because you're like, I'm not funny, I'm so bad. Like, I think a good few times I ran out of the lesson crying. So I was just like, I thought I was funny, and I'm not. Everyone's looking at me. So God bless that man for just dealing with all of that. Yeah, and then we didn't have the, like the showcase that drama schools have at the end of their final year. We went to Edinburgh for the whole month, like the Edinburgh Fringe, and we were all in 2 shows, and we were double cast and everything, which again teaches you a lot if you're double cast with someone who's doing your part. And then and that, I mean, that was an experience in itself. It's so good because you're there for a month and it's teaching you like stamina and stuff of doing the same show for at least a month. But my god, it was knackering as well, like flying for 3 hours a day, which granted isn't as much as some people do.
Yeah.
And then trying to fit in shows while also still being really poor because you've lived in London for a year, and then being in Edinburgh where everything's really expensive because they've hacked the prices up. Yeah. You're like, I want to do all this stuff, God. And then try not to get ill because everyone is in Edinburgh, so you're meeting so many different people. And then, but that meant I didn't actually, I think I had emailed agents, but none of them had bitten and hadn't really had many contact with them. And then it took me a good 2 years, I think. Was it a good 2 years to get an agent after that? So I didn't get one until 2018. But actually, it's weird because looking back, I was always like, oh, so annoyed we didn't get a showcase, didn't have, the agents there. But having to do it myself and find an agent myself taught me a lot in terms of how to sell yourself, how to write an email as well. That's, oh God, that's a lesson.
It actually is, like,
it's so difficult to come across as like yourself, trying to be like, this is me and I'm different to everyone else because I am me, in an email, whilst also be like, I'm also very talented and you just have me on your books.
I can do all the things.
I know, and also while trying not to over egg I love your agency and everything it stands for. And
it's I would agree with that actually. I remember during my 3rd year at LIPA, I'd started to email agents, and we did have a showcase. So it was a case of finding agents that were coming and potentially getting in touch with them if you were interested, or if there was an agent that wasn't coming, how could you entice them in to coming to see the showcase? And I remember emailing a few different agents, and it was just so difficult because, I mean, after a while you just get used to it, but those first few emails were like, what have I just said?
Yeah, and you said like the longest email as well, because you're like, I have to fit everything in.
Yeah. And that's the thing that in a way you kind of don't want, because you don't want them to see a really long email and immediately switch off. So it's finding that balance, I think, of saying, look, I really like your agency because of XYZ. This is what I can do. This is where you can see me if you want to see me. I've often found since then that the more concise and direct you can be, but in a really nice way, it's so much better. But I completely agree. Oh my God, it was one of the hardest things, and no one ever teaches you how to do that.
No, and even if they say like, you need to put this into it, you need to put this into it, you need to put this into it. Like if someone gives you the bare bones, like put your spotlight link and all this into it, or if you haven't got spotlight, put your CV in your headshot, say who you are and stuff. But it's like, but how you can't teach someone as well how to put you into an email.
No, exactly.
Because annoyingly, only you know how you speak in an email, but you're trying to sound like you, but also a more refined version of you. Because someone would be like, hiya, Chuck, you're all right. So I'd like you to represent me, please, because I need some money and I want to act. And I think you'd be really nice and you'd look after me. And look, I'm talented because I've got a show reel so you can see there. And isn't my headshot pretty? Thanks.
Oh, I'd love for you to send an email like that.
Oh, no, can you imagine?
Oh, God. Yeah, no, you know what? You've kind of compelled me to ask you about that time after you finished at Fourth Monkey and getting an agent. Did you find that it was harder getting work, or did you find that basically, was there any moment that you thought, oh, I really wish that I had an agent right now, or did you think, actually, I'm okay without for now?
I think ever since I left, I always knew I wanted an agent, because I'm very, very good at talking myself out of things. So if I see something and go, oh, I could do that, if that's my initial reaction, go, oh yeah, I can do that, I'm then very good at going, yeah, but can you really do that because of that thing? And also someone better is probably going to be able to do that better than you can, and then you've only actually done that for half a year, so really can you say you're properly skilled in it? And like, yeah, really all the doubts come in, which they do for everyone, but then I'll just go, it won't apply, it's not, I'm not right for it. And then it's just stupid. But actually, because as well, because I moved back home in with my parents in Cheshire after being in London, and my first goal, I was like, I'm going to be back down to London, because I really loved living there for the year, even though I was really poor. It was really good fun, and the people I met down there who are still down there are just wonderful people. So that was my goal. And then so I was looking for any jobs in London, really, and then saw the thing about the Crystal Maze, and initially wasn't actually going to go for it because I had a job already in London, and then it was kind of like, this is stupid, why am I not applying for that? So kind of just did it. I think it was like a couple of days before the deadline, so I was like, I'll just do that, and then ended up getting it. So I stayed and moved to Manchester. And then I think I kind of took a back seat with the agent things. I was kind of just getting settled there and just seeing what was going on there for a bit. And then I was like, I didn't get any other work. I think I put myself forward for a few auditions, and I did some bits with friends, because I suddenly went, I'm going to need a show reel because I've not got anything to invite agents to come and see. So then I got a show reel together. Which was good, because it meant because then I was like, right, now I can email agents again and go, this is what I've been doing in the time, this is what I've done that since graduating, have a look at this. And also at the same time, I got some proper, like real professional headshots done as well. Because headshots, again, people say, but also there's so many. If you go on Spotlight, or when people, the contacts book as well, and people go have a look through there, and then you're like, but it's just so many.
Yeah, there really is.
Yeah. So my first tip to people would be, know if you want outdoor or studio shots done.
Yes. Oh my God.
I think, or both, because some people do offer both, but know which one you're suited for, because I know in a studio light it's not as good for this little rural face here. I was like, I need to be out in the country.
I love that. It's true though,
yeah, because I was just like, and also I find it harder to be more natural in photos in a studio light, because it's such an unnatural setting for me, and it makes me go, oh, I'm having a photo taken. Whereas if I'm out like in the world, I'm like, oh, sounds nice. Yeah, so I think then realizing, for me it was going, right, I'm going to need some proper headshots done, and I need something to show agents so that I can be like, this is what I can do. Managed to get the showreel all done for free just by people I work with at the Maze, actually, just asking people if they want to do a showreel scene together, and knowing people that do camera work, and some very lovely people said yes, which was amazing. Yeah, but I think when I got the Maze, I was like, oh, maybe I could just represent myself. And then I was going, no, but I don't want to do this forever. I knew I always wanted to do some TV work and film work, because I love like the technical side of all that. So I was like, I'm not really going to be able to get that myself, because I don't really know the casting directors and people for that. So I'm going to need an agent to push me forward for that.
Yeah.
And also because you soon learn on Spotlight, a lot of casting breakdowns get sent to agents separately that we don't see. So I was like, well, gonna need an agent then if I want to get at least, put forward for those.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think I always knew I was going to get an agent. I think I always knew I wanted one, because I knew I was never going to push myself enough. I need someone to always go, you're doing this is how you've got to do it, and you've got to do it. So then I go, okay. I need that fear put into me, but I can't put that into myself as much.
Yeah, no, I completely understand that. And I think in a way, I don't know, it's having that person there that sort of works alongside you, and it's like when you apply for a job, you say, I can do this job because of XYZ. But if you've got that other person there that's also backing you up, saying, oh yes, you can do it because of X, Y, and Z, and here's proof, it just helps you. And like you said, a lot of agents nowadays, they get breakdowns that we don't see. And I mean, that's happened to me countless amount of times, where my agents emailed me being like, oh, I've got your self-tape. And I've gone, oh, right. Oh, well, I didn't see this breakdown. Oh, thank you very much. Well, that's nice. You know what I mean? And I think for me personally, it's really interesting actually hearing your sort of journey with it, because mine's been really different. And it just goes to show, like, everyone's journey with agents, with acting in general, is so different in itself. I know for me, I'm now with an agency that I really trust, and often I'm the one that's emailing my agent saying, oh, I've gotten this job, I've gotten this job, I've gotten this.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh. But she's really supportive about it. She'll say, oh, fantastic, go for it, whatever. And I think for me, it's that thing of those TV jobs, those bigger theatre jobs, I don't have the contacts to get there. unless, say, for example, there was an open call or something like that. But
and we all know about open calls, don't we?
well, we do. But it's true, like, if we hadn't have gone to the 6 open call, we probably wouldn't have got an audition for 6.
Oh, never. I'd never expect to get one ever again.
No, I'm the same. But yeah, I think having an agent is a really good sort of stepping stone to get to where you want to go. But before you get an agent, it's good to know where you want to go. So like you said, you knew that you wanted to work within TV and film because you enjoy it. That is something that you've got in your sights. And I remember when I first started emailing agents, I didn't have a clue. I was just like, I can do all of this stuff, please take me, thanks. Because I didn't know where I fit into the industry at all. Whereas when I looked elsewhere after a year or so, and I was looking for another agent, that was when I suddenly realised, okay, this is what I can do. This is what I can bring to the table that nobody else can.
Yeah.
And I think knowing that helped, because it meant that I wasn't just but emailing every single agent. I was hand picking the ones that I really thought could work for me. That was a big, like you said before, it's a big learning curve. You know, in just being able to put yourself across in the way you want to an agent that you genuinely think could work for you. But it is hard trying to get there sometimes. I had a bit of a stroke of luck with mine because she emailed me after a couple of days and said, would you like to come in for a meeting? And I said, oh yeah, brilliant, thank you. And she said at the meeting, she said, if I'd have seen your CV maybe a week later, I could have had someone else and I might not have invited you in.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, you're right.
Yeah, it's so weird how it falls, and how just a lot of things are just by chance.
Absolutely. And sometimes it's the right place at the right time. And I know for me personally, I feel quite happy actually since making a move to a different agent. I do feel much happier with the relationship, with what they have offered me in the time that I've been with them. And yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. You just got to see where it goes sometimes, haven't you, and take that leap of faith.
Yeah. But, yeah, because we've both changed agents, haven't we?
Yeah.
I did mine in lockdown 1. I think I know, it's the only achievement I've had. Like, that's my one achievement for lockdown 1. I was like, I got a new agent, and then I was like, that's it, don't have to do anything else now. Yeah, but I love Scott. He's just so easy to talk to, and he's just so encouraging, so supportive, and also really good at communication.
Oh,
like he doesn't take long to respond to emails at all.
that's so important.
Yeah, and he's just always honest and open about. And it's just like I get an email from him and I feel like I've been hugged, and I'm like, well, Scott.
That's what you want, isn't it? I've noticed that in the last year, like whilst COVID has been a thing, that every time I've emailed my agent, it's like there's a different level of care there. And I think it's because of everything that's going on, and just the fact that if, you know, especially during this time, if you are able to get work, pat yourself on the back, because
100%.
That is such an achievement. Like the fact that you got another agent, that's brilliant. Like, because you made that effort and you got there, and that's such an amazing achievement considering the circumstances. And I don't know, I just feel like my agent's been very, very compassionate towards me, especially like this year so far has been filled with work, and you know, it's been actually quite nice to email her as frequently as I have and been like, oh, I'm doing this. Oh, I'm doing this as well. And she's
Yeah.
like, oh, great. Like, that's so wonderful. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to talk about COVID too much, but I do feel like this past year people have really sort of come together in a way that they haven't before. And it's quite nice to be a part of, I think.
Yeah, and it's been like when people have gone, "How are you doing?" It's not just like, "Oh yeah, hi, how are you?" It's like, I hope, like it's like a sincere, "I hope you're all right," because
Yeah.
everyone's finding it difficult. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's nice, and it is nice, and it's nice actually because there's always been this thing like social media and stuff. We could go on and on about. But I remember a while back, people were putting they'd got a job on Twitter, and other people were being like, can people stop doing it because a lot of us aren't getting anything and we're finding it difficult. And then other people were saying, no, celebrate your small victories, because in this time it's nice to see that other people are, and to remind us there is stuff going out there and people can still do it. And it was one of those where I was like, I could see it from every point, because it is, because when you see someone you don't know, like first, if you're in a bit of a slump, the first thing you see on Twitter is someone's going, oh, I just landed a lead role in a feature film. You're like,
Yeah.
and then you're like this. Sorry, just looking for my career. and then, but then there is the other part of you that goes, no, do you know what? Good for you, because, and especially in these times, because it is so difficult, and the fact you've been able to do it is a little lift for all of us, that things are moving again. People are being seen, people are getting cast in stuff.
Yeah.
And especially when it's your mates as well.
100%.
And when someone goes like, oh, I got this, and you're like, oh,
yeah,
you get a little warm fuzzy. And that's what it's nice because everyone's starting to feel that again and starting to support each other properly again.
Yeah.
Which is so, because it's all been just so messed up, and also it's a nice having conversation about the elitism going on, and how let's give more people chances, and
yes,
and especially because people are just craving the arts and craving to see stuff that yes, if you put a name in it, it's going to get you the money, and people are going to come and see it, but at the same time a lot of people just want to see stuff, so this is the perfect time to just kind of go, here's a leg, let's go up.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I think something that I've noticed recently, especially since this year started, is that some people are being very open about sharing how motivated they are, which in some ways is fantastic because it can rub off on other people. But it's like what you were saying, if you're having a particularly bad day as a creative and you see that, I know it's affected me in it sometimes, where I've felt deterred from pursuing anything creative that day because of that, because it's like, hang on a minute, I don't feel like that. I maybe don't have my usual sense of oomph towards doing something creative, and it, in a way, it kind of makes you feel bad. And it's that whole thing of comparison, which I try not to do ever. I try and just stay clear from it, but it's so hard, especially at the minute. And like you're saying, if you see someone getting a job, it's like, well, how did you get that? Why am I not getting that?
Yeah.
But we are all in this together, and you're completely right. If we can support each other and congratulate people when they have those small wins, that's amazing. That's an accomplishment for us as well, in being able to say, okay, I do feel a bit rubbish that I'm not working, but you've achieved something, and that's brilliant. Yeah.
Because also you'd want people to feel that for you as well if you did get something.
Exactly, and I'm a firm believer in that. You give out what you want to receive.
Yeah.
And so with a lot of the stuff I do with Blue Balloon, for example, I'm very open and very honest. And if the person I'm speaking to has achieved something, I'm like, amazing. I like, I love it. I love seeing people in our community that have achieved things, and if I can share it on social media, even better, because I'm like, we need to all realize that this is a great achievement for this person. And you know, it's just, it's like that feeling if someone said well done, it's like, oh, thanks, like you've taken a
Yeah.
bit of time out of your day to, you know, to say well done. That's lovely. But yeah, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's a crazy
Yeah.
time, and it's all affecting us in very, very new ways, maybe ways that we haven't really experienced before.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I think it's nice, like you said, like when people have said, you know, how much they've done to try and keep themselves in the like they feel like they're still being an actor or some, you know, a creative. Because like there's all the, you know, like the spotlight one-to-ones that they've been setting up with casting directors, and I know a lot of other companies do. I think it's Just Add Milk, they do some really good workshops,
oh, cool.
like with casting directors, and also like self-taping and stuff. I remember like throughout the first lockdown, I kept like seeing the casting directors and going, oh yeah, I quite like to speak to them, I quite like to speak to them. But then also just not, I don't know what it was, but I was just like, I don't want to apply for it. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's just because I'm not ready to sit and just kind of be one-on-one with a casting director. And also I was like, I feel like I've got nothing to say in terms of, I'd just be like, hey, I just want you to cast me in something.
That's
And
it,
also I think because
isn't it?
everyone was doing it, and I was like, I don't have, and it's not because I don't want, you know, it's not because I'm a bad actor, it's not because I don't want to meet them, it's just, but like now I'm like, I saw the last lot they released, and I was like, oh yeah, and then I actually just forgot on the day. I was like, oh, pew. I just completely forgot what day they were being released, and then I was like, missed it. But now I know the next ones that will be released, I'm gonna try, because I'm like, no, I'm ready to just have a chat. And
Yeah.
I don't need to try and sell myself. I just need to have a chat and just be like, hi, it's just nice to talk and meet, because I want to meet, because I've hardly met any casting directors, and I get, it's just, you know, and I'm like, I want to be able to help my agent by me meeting some of them, so then they could be like, oh, do you know what, she was nice, let's bring her in. Well, at least I hope they'd say that. I hope they were like, oh god, she is the biggest weirdo I've ever met.
No, I completely agree, and that's sort of going back to what we were saying about agents before. It is really important to put in as much work as your agent puts in for you. So recently my agent sent me a list of casting directors that I might want to get in touch with, and I intend to get in touch with all of them, because I'm aware that Elizabeth has spent a lot of time subbing me for certain things, you know, talking to casting directors about me for certain jobs, and whether I get an audition for them or not doesn't matter. It's the fact that she's made that first contact. But yeah, it is really, I find it's almost like I've got a duty to do it, in a way, but it's not in a taxing way. Like, I don't find it a chore. I want to. Yeah.
I think that's the thing though, I think you have to want to, and I think if you
Oh,
don't make yourself do it, because and that's what I think people think if they're not doing all this stuff, because I think I did a bit in the first lockdown. You go, oh, I'm not doing all this, and I know people that are doing all these workshops and meeting all these incredible casting directors, but I mean, we still are going through a pandemic. It's all right to just kind of go, I just don't really want to do anything apart from just kind of sort myself out and just kind of go day to day at the minute, because
completely.
That's too much to handle without trying to do all that as well. So
Definitely.
it's the funny old world, isn't it?
It really is. It really is. But this is a perfect opportunity.
Oh, I love a segue.
No, a segue. So this is like the second half of the podcast now. So I wanted to chat to you about your writing and about your theatre company as well. We'll chat about your writing kind of first, but I'm a little bit of an anecdote now. A few years back, you put on a rehearsed play reading of one of your plays that you'd written in Manchester, and it was it with your theatre company? Yeah. And I remember coming to that. I think I can't remember whether you had told me, because I was friends with you at that point, but I don't think I was as good friends with you as I am now. But I remember lots of people from the Crystal Maze were involved in it in some way. So I was like, let's go and support, kind of thing. And I had no idea that you dabbled in writing and that you wrote like that. And I watched it and I was like, this is really bloody good. And so I kind of wanted to ask you about that, and like, what is your experience with writing? Like, what has inspired you to write in the past?
Do you know what, that's actually the first thing I've ever written, like, properly.
Oh wow. Well,
yeah.
I wish my first thing was that good, because it just seemed so well formed. Yeah, carry on.
I think with that particular piece, it's an issue I'm very passionate about. And it's something like, because I've, like, with like Margaret Atwood and reading a lot of like feminism and like stories about women's rights, and not necessarily like factual stories, as in, like, you know, like not non-fiction, like fiction. I was like, what am I on now? Fiction? Who am I? So, like, made up stories. I remember being like, oh, this is like, if I was going to write, this would be something I wanted to do. And it's been, I think it took me, I want to say like a year, maybe longer than a year, to write, because it wasn't anything I felt I needed to, it wasn't something I wanted to write for. It was just, it wasn't even necessarily to like put out there. It was just something I wanted to write about in a creative form, and I guess see if it had legs, but also just see if it made sense and if it was all right. Because I used to love English at school in terms of the creative writing we do there, like writing stories. And I remember even like at A-level doing the creative writing part of coursework and being quite good at it in terms of character stuff and putting myself in another person's head and being able to just kind of write. But I remember that one, I got people over to read it and to read it out loud, and I'd never really shown anyone it before. So I was like, I think I showed it to Leah first, and I was like, what you think? And then she was like, we need to read it, and I was like, that's true. So I got her and some other people to read it out loud. And then she was the one that was like, right, we're going to set up a theatre company and we're going to put it on. And I was like, okay. So then we got someone else involved, and then I think it was Bexy. Bexy Archer, she's wonderful, as is Leah Gray Scaife. Leah Gray, her actor name. And Bexy was the one that was like, she kind of not tore it apart, but was like, you need to restructure this, because I think she was like, the thing that you want to reveal is revealed too soon. So I was like, right, okay. And she was like, it doesn't need to be chronologically, you can proper mess with all the timelines. So I was like, I might do that, yeah. And then so I did, and then I was like, actually, yeah, this works a lot better.
Yeah.
Which is all, and that's the scariest thing. The scariest thing is someone else reading it and someone else going, you should do that, because then you go, yeah, because then you're like, yeah, it's awful. But it's not, and they're making it better. They're not saying it's awful, they're saying, no, this has got great potential, you need to just do this, and then it's exactly what it needs to be.
Yeah.
And so then we did, we put it on at the Way Theatre in Atherton. and this was before you saw it. It was shorter than the one you saw, because it finished with, you know, the detective Collins coming in to the two girls in the prison. Before all that, speeches and stuff afterwards. And then the feedback we got from that was that they wanted more. They were like, we need to see what happens next. Like, not in the terms of, oh, we want more because it was so good, you know, like sometimes people are like, oh, we want more but don't show us more. Like, we want more but don't show us it because it will ruin it. They were like, no, we need to see more. I was like, right, okay. So I went back and I was like, I don't know what to do. I was literally like, I don't know what. So I left it for ages. I was just like, I'm just not going to write anything for months because I'm fretting. And then just managed to, I think stuff was going on in my personal life, and I just kind of needed that. The writing was a form of escape from all of that. And I was able to put those feelings into the writing. It's going to sound so dramatic, and it was. Sitting in, you know, chapter 1, you know, the little chapter 1 book. I love that place. I love that cafe so much. Sitting in there, writing a particular scene, and it was quite emotional. And I like cry because I was writing it. So I go, oh, you know, when you're trying not to cry. Yeah. And then you like go, oh. And people are like, is she going to be sick? Is she like, and just like, oh, it was, yeah. But then literally, but it was one of those days where you don't really know how much time's gone past because you've just been sitting there in the zone. But I'm one of those that I've not really ever done to a deadline or a timeline before, because I've just kind of gone, no, I don't feel like writing it today, so I'm not going to, because I'm not going to force myself. Whereas other days I'm like, no, I need to write all of this now. I'm like, so some days I can literally write like 20, 30 pages. Other days I'm just like, I've tried to write half a page and I can't. Yeah, I have written other stuff. I've written like the odd monologue here and there, just for, in terms of an idea just randomly come into my head and I've gone, I'm just going to write this down. And so I have just written it down. In terms of, I've gone, oh, imagine if like, I don't know, imagine if you were like just sat on the edge of a cliff and then a bird came past and then you wandered, and then suddenly the bird grew and it picked you up, what would happen? Like, just literally could be some really random thoughts in my head. Or if it's like, I wonder if like all the world went really weird and like the economy went down and you could only buy one person a present at Christmas and you didn't know who you were buying it for, and it just got sent to some random person and you had to Zoom call them on Christmas Day and open the present in front of each other. like just honestly really random things, and I'll just go, I might just write it and see what happens. And then I do. I have been actually so I've done TIE with a company called NAT Solutions, and they approached me in November and got me to write a script for them, which was amazing, and we're going to pay me for it. And I was like, what?
That's so good.
I know, like I've never been paid to write before, and they were like, yeah, we've just like through rehearsals, how I've been rehearsals and written bits and rehearsals, and through like other stuff they've seen, they were just like, we want your writing style, because they were like, you know how our shows work, but they want to change it up a bit. And so I was like, they were like, we can only give you this much money, so how much work do you want to do for that? So it was all like, how much work do you want to do? And I was like, okay. So that was really, because people were like, you should be harsh with it. I was like, no, because they're a really nice company. So
yeah. And
also I was like, I'm not a professional writer by any standards, and it's the first bit of paid work I'm gonna do. So yeah, I mean, that was like a deadline I had to do for, so I was like, oh god, this is going to be difficult. But actually, because I have worked for them and I've done their shows before, it was actually quite easy to write, because I knew the style and I knew the format and I knew what the information was I had to get in, but whilst also making it my style as well.
Yeah.
I know, that was cool. I was like, oh, I got to picture just writing. Oh, hello.
Just call me Jenny McIntyre, the playwright. No, it's amazing to be there.
Yeah, it's weird though, because like my mum's and like my dad and people have been like, why don't you just write another play with all this time you've got? And I've gone, because there's nothing at the minute that I particularly feel inspired to write about. I'm just kind of like, oh, I don't really want. I've written the odd monologue, but
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't really. Something that you really got like the inkling to write a whole another play.
Yeah. And it takes quite a lot of concentration. I think even though we have got a lot of time, it's that thing of, do you really want to map out an entire play and, you know, think of characters, character journeys, and where it's set, what's going to be the story, you know, who's the protagonist. It's a lot, so much goes into writing one, that it's that thing of, do you want to do that? And if, like you said, if there's nothing particularly inspiring you at the moment, then it's probably better to wait until you find that.
Yeah, and it's also because like I said, I like something will just pop into my head and I'll just start writing. Like I don't, like I know people go, right, this is what I want to write about, and they can properly plan it out, and I'm like, I just don't work like that. I just have to kind of start writing and see where it goes, and then they go, oh, okay, this character's like this, right, okay, I understand now.
Yeah.
Oh, and she's a bit like this, and he's a bit of a one, so but yeah, Drunken Mess was really good. It was good fun to do.
Yeah.
And it was scary as hell. Like it's scary being like, I've written it and I'm starring in it because that's the person I am. Because I'm like, because you know what it's like, the thing people go, if there isn't any work for you, make it for you. So I was like, all right, well, this is kind of topic I'd love to perform and want people to talk about, so let's go.
Yeah. No, I've done that before, and I do think it's the best thing to do, really, because if you've got that passion for the topic you're acting about, then why not? You know. No,
Yeah, I remember having a chat with someone after that rehearsed reading, and they were like, you know, you could easily make this into either like a mini series or a film. And I was like, oh, I really like, you know, I was like, oh, do you know what, I love it as a play, but actually, and he was telling me how he'd shoot it and like how easy locations would be to find, because it's literally like you'd need like a prison cell or like a interrogation room and like the streets. Like and because of like the flashback style of it, they were like, oh, it would work. And like they were, yeah. And I was like, oh, do you know what, it would. So I might go back to it and look at rewriting it for that kind of, maybe just one day I might just shoot it and be like, you know what, let's give it a bash.
Yeah. Oh, I reckon you should.
Yeah, I've not been back to. I've not like thought about it already since actually really that rehearsed reading, because I don't really know why. I think I just kind of was like, I don't really want to. I was like, I don't really want to put it on again, and I was like, and I'm not really in a place where I want to push to get funding and do it properly, because I was like, that's not. I can't deal with all of that. Like that's not me. I can't. No. I will write and perform, but I'm not a producer or a marketing expert. Or I'm just like, here you go, you do that. And also, I think sometimes as well, I'm at a point at the minute where I'm like, I want someone to give me their script and for me to perform that at the minute.
Yeah.
And that's where I am. I mean, that might change. Like next month, I might be like, I want to write and perform and do a one-woman show. But right now, I'm like, I want someone to cast me in Bridgerton or in Sex Education, and then me to just do it and get paid for it and have the time of my life. So
yeah. No, that's completely fair. I mean, I feel like we all want that.
I know. And I think, yeah,
you're right.
The lockdown has made you go, oh no, this is what I really like. I like doing the writing. I love doing, like, it's when I feel like I want to do it and I do it, it's nice. But oh god, I just want to perform and just go. I'll be like, Mama, fetch the carriage. It's Just
ask this girl now, please.
I mean, that's why. I mean, that is wholeheartedly why I put the photo of myself in my mother's wedding dress on Twitter, because I was like, if someone happens to see this and is like, girl, she looks like she could be in a period drama, then my agent is Scott at I Am Epic Agents, and give him an email.
Oh, so casual.
So casual.
That's absolutely fab. And you know what? I agree. Just touching on something you said there, I agree that during lockdown, it's kind of, I know for me as well, it's definitely shown me what I genuinely want to do with my time. And I've not really, especially in lockdown 2 and 3, I've not really written as much, but I have created work, just not writing. It's been a lot more visual. I'm a very visual person anyway, so I've been doing a lot of like content for YouTube, and that's something that I've really found a passion for now. I mean, who knows what may happen with it in future, but right now I want to invest my time in that. And I think it's nice to find things like that where you sort of go, yeah, actually this is what I want to do. You know, whether it's directly acting related or not, but yeah.
I think as well, I'm someone who works so much better when I've got a lot on, because you have to plan your time. Like, that's what I used to say to my lecturers at uni. I'd be like, I know I've got a lot on, but I will work so much better because I'll know this time I've got to be here doing this, so I've got this time spare to write some of my dissertation, so I'll have to get up and spend these 3 hours writing that, and then I'll have an hour for lunch, then I'll have to go and rehearse for 3 hours, and then I'll have, you know, whatever. And then, but because of having nothing to do, it's been kind of nice in a way to kind of just get up, have breakfast, tidy the kitchen, and then me and my mum will do some Pilates with the catcher, thanks to your recommendation.
You're welcome.
What a guy is. She's
honestly
amazing.
If just FYI, if you haven't been over to Pilates and yoga with Katya, I will link her channel below so you can go and check her out, because it has completely changed my like outlook on exercise and on just moving my body. I feel a lot less anxious because I've been doing Pilates more.
Yeah.
And it's completely revolutionized how I approach exercise now.
Yeah, because you're really working muscles without really realizing you're doing it.
Yeah.
To the point where you feel it the next day and you're like, oh, my abs are a bit sore. Oh.
Yeah.
And you're like, we didn't really do much. And you're like, actually, no, we did. But it's just the way she did it. It wasn't ever like you were holding a position for too long in a way where you're like, this is hurting.
Yeah.
Like, it's always just enough, and it's just enough on like your arms or your legs where then you move on. So you're not like, oh, I overdid that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, really nice. And then like once a week I might do a cardio as well, because sometimes I'm like, oh, I want to sweat today.
Yeah, I find that.
And also I've got my friend Hayley, who I call it a sweaty face gem pic that I send her once a week, where it's just like just because it started in the first lockdown because it was so hot, and then being in Manchester and doing it in the flat, but obviously I had to shut the blind because I was like, because where we are is like right next to the main road, and like a lot of people used to walk past, so I'd be like, I'm not having people look in and be like, all right. Like, to the extent I started a cardio workout the other day, and 2 people walked past the house, like, and they probably wouldn't even be able to see me, but I literally just happened to spot them, and I thought they were looking at me, so I literally just ran out the room because I was like, no. I just pegged it to the kitchen. Everyone was like, what are you doing? I was like, people walk past and they looked in and I think they saw me and I don't want them to see me doing my workouts.
Oh god.
But But yeah, because I had to shut the blind, and then it was just so hot doing it that I completely red in the face and just an absolute mess. And to the point I was just having to do it in my sports bra because that was just too hot. I was like, it's too hot for t-shirts.
Yeah, it was. Oh God, trying to run in that weather was just impossible. I remember when it was safe to do so, Adam, my partner, came to Manchester, said, "Do you want to go for a run?" He said, "Yeah." So we went to the park, which is about 5 minutes from my house, started running, and he went, "Are you all right?" I went, I'm a bit breathless." He said, "I can literally hear how wheezy you sound because of how hot it is." And I was like, "We've literally not even done a kilometre yet." I was like, "I think we're gonna have to stop." And then I think we ended up doing a bit more like strength stuff, just stationary in the park, because it was just too hot. But yeah,
And like, you'd see some people pelting it, and I'd be like, how are you not dying? And also, I'm not red in the face. It really annoys me when people don't go red in the face. I know it's not their fault and they're probably really fit, that's why. But when I'm like huffing and puffing and red and dripping, and someone's there like,
yeah.
and also it annoys me. That's why some workout videos I don't like, because they're like just smiling all the way through and not breaking a sweat. I'm like, no, if I'm looking like this, you need to look like this with me.
And they go, "Oh, I can really feel the burn now." I'm like, you're not even breaking a sweat.
No, it does my head in. And I'm like, no, you know you can feel it, because you start, like, especially if you're doing like crunches and stuff, and then you know when it gets to the point where you start going like you do that face because you're like, this hurts.
I'm never going to unsee that face.
Honestly, that's why I've never do a workout over Zoom. I'm like, no, I'll find a YouTube one where they can't see me.
Yeah.
So I can grimace in peace and be sweaty face Jen in peace.
Oh dear me.
Oh, I've got a collection on my phone. I might have to tweet them all one day.
I'll do it.
Although a lot of them just randomly deleted, so I'm really upset. I'm like, oh, there was at least a good 6 that were just randomly deleted off my phone.
Oh.
So I'm trying to build them back up, but now I'm like, I've got to find funny faces now to do with them.
I don't know. Mm-hmm. Exercise with Jenny, everyone.
Could you literally? I said this the other day. I said to my friend the other day. It would literally be like, I'd be like, if you've clicked onto this video and you don't want to do it and you can't be asked, just turn it off again.
Oh God.
I'd literally be like, I'm like, right, this is the part I don't like, so I'm not gonna do it. So you can do it if you want, and I'm just gonna sit here and pretend to watch you do it.
Yeah. Nice. I like your style.
Thanks.
Well, this has been an absolutely wonderful chat. I'm so grateful for you and for your time today. There's a couple of things that I wanted to sort of end on. First thing is, do you have an outlook or like a phrase or a mantra, something that you refer back to sort of keep you going or keep you inspired or anything like that? Is there something that you kind of like live by?
There is now, actually, yeah. So quite a while ago, quite a few years ago, I started listening to the Honest Actors podcast. And I think who was it? It was oh God, her name's completely gone. It's Amanda. Yeah, her. Oh, it's gonna really annoy me. I should know this. It's Amanda someone. She was in Sherlock. If she was John's wife in Sherlock. She says she lives by this thing where someone told her it's just you cancel and you continue. So it's like if something's happened and it's, you know, like on one day it's really affected you, and instead of having guilt about it or you know, keep thinking over it and going, oh, I shouldn't have done that, I really shouldn't have done that, it's just going back, do you know what, that's happened, I'm just going to cancel that and just continue with my life. And I just really like that in terms of there are certain things where you just got to go, just stop thinking about that now. Just stop it. It's happened. No, maybe it shouldn't have happened, but you know what? You've made your peace with it, move on. Because otherwise some things can just eat away at you for ages, and it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. So just cancel and continue.
I like that. I think I need to adopt that, especially at the moment, because my anxiety is like outrageous sometimes. So I'm going to remember that.
Yeah.
I'll be re-watching this podcast, and I'll just keep playing the bit of you going cancel and continue. Amazing. I really like that, you know. And the final thing I wanted to ask is there anything, I mean, this is largely to do with COVID and the effects it's had on everyone, but is there anything that you would recommend to people, whether that's you know, something like watching something or listening to something, or something that you've done that you've found has really helped you? Is there anything that you would like recommend to our viewers?
I think, well, definitely the Pilates. Pilates will catch you.
Yes.
I think one big thing, I'll get onto like a TV recommendation in a minute, and you probably all know what I'm going to say. But anyone who knows me knows what I'm about to say on Netflix. I think the big thing is to not judge yourself if you do nothing, and even if you do nothing day after day after day, to not judge yourself, because as my mum said to me, you don't know what's around the corner. You could suddenly, like next month, or even if it's next year, be horrifically busy to the point where you're literally like, oh, I just want a day off, and you can't. So just take this time to just allow yourself to just rest, even if you spend the whole day in bed watching something on your phone, or you know, like watching YouTube videos of this wonderful woman called Rebecca Fithian on, yeah, check that out, subscribe, like, comment.
Links in the description, everyone.
That's because I watched one last night, actually, the vegan empties one.
Did you like it?
I did, yeah. I always think it's while you're talking to me, so when you're like, do go check them out, I'm like, oh, I will, Becca, thanks.
Oh, that's made my day.
So I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, so don't judge yourself. Even if you feel like you should be doing something, it can probably wait. Like, there's no urgency at the minute, so just let yourself do what you need to do. But if you do need something to watch on Netflix, then I would highly recommend Sex Education. And if you know me, there will be a character in there, you will see her and you will go, that's Jenny, that is. Jenny should be playing a part exactly like that. And I say this because so many people messaged me this when they watched it. They were like, oh, you know this character, she's literally you, and you should be playing a part like this. And I'm like, not that the actress playing her, she's incredible, like she's amazing, but there's room for both of us in that world, so you know.
Absolutely.
I do highly recommend that, because and also Gillian Anderson is just incredible in it. I just love that woman so much, and on Twitter she's hilarious as well. She's just she's funny. Yeah, watch it, because it's just really funny, and it's just proper good relief telly to watch. And also Bridgerton, because I want to be in that as well. But don't we all want to be in that at the minute?
I'm really not sure whether to watch it or not, because I don't usually watch things like that, you know, very sort of regal kind of thing, but it seems quite funny. Am I right in thinking that?
It is, yeah, it is.
Okay.
It's because it is regal, and it is like period drama, but it's not your average like Jane Austen period drama, because it's not. It is like it's a made up world, so in a sense it's mocking things knowingly in a period drama, like taking a bit of the mick out of the things that are kind of unsaid in period dramas and things that don't happen but we all know do happen. Like, and there are some very racy scenes in there.
Oh,
I
really?
mean, oh my, to the point, there's one episode in particular where you're like, oh, right, we get it, like, all right. And like, to the point where I watched it with my mum, and I knew there were loads of scenes in it, but me and mum are very close, so we're not usually that bothered. But we both hid behind cushions because we were both like, I can't watch this anymore. And like, we're just making awkward jokes throughout because it's just the only way to get through it. And then obviously I went, to make it even more awkward, I went, what would you do if you were watching something like that and it was me? It was me there. What if it was me under that boy?
Oh my God.
Like, oh, I'm just going to watch it. I was like, to be fair, I don't think I told you to watch it.
Yeah, that's true. It's a bit like Game of Thrones, really, isn't it? Because there's so much in that that's very... There's some scenes that are really very bloody.
Graphic.
Very graphic and very, like... There's some that are quite racy as well. And if I was in something like that, I wouldn't tell my mum and dad to watch it. I'd be like, it's probably not for you.
I'd like, give this episode a miss and it's fine. Yeah, because it is, I have to say though, because it is, when you watch it though, and even with those scenes, even though it's like, I mean, you're like, it's nice to watch. I think a lot has been said about this, but it's nice to watch it and see how obviously comfortable they are doing the scene. And that's because they've got intimacy coordinators now. Which is really cool.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's Lizzie Talbot was the one that was on for Bridgerton, and she's great. If you want to find out anything more about her, follow her on Twitter, because I never really thought of intimacy coordinator as a thing. I don't think anyone did until you suddenly hear about it and you realise actually how important it is that we need these kind of things. Not even just on screen, in stage as well, because there's always an error. It's always like, it's like, you know, you have like the kissing scene and everyone's like, oh, you're rehearsing that scene today, and you're like, and it's all because you both know it's going to happen. And I've done it as well. I did it in uni, where you both know it's happening and you're doing the lines coming up to it, and then you realise you stood way too far apart from each other, and you're like, that's really awkward. Now it's even more awkward than it should have been because we're like a metre apart, we're meant to be kissing. The first time is just never nice as well, because you're like, and it's all the awkward conversation, like, we're using tongue, do we do open mouth, the closed mouth? Whereas, like, if someone else is there doing that for you, going, right, this is how it's going to do, this is how we're going to choreograph it, then you're like, okay, this feels less like I've got to really do it and more like a dance, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yes. Yay, sex!
And what a way to end the podcast.
Thank you.
Well, Jenny, you've given us so much to think about.
Well, that's what I do.
And genuinely, like, I know I said it before, but I can't thank you enough for your time and your wonderful contagious energy, because now I'm going to be I'm going to be bouncing off the walls for the rest of the day, so thank you. But yeah, no, if you would like to plug any of your social media for people to come and follow you, now is your chance. Take it away.
Oh yeah, I'm on Twitter. I've no idea what it is. I think it's Jenny A at capital J, Jenny, capital A, capital M, little C, capital I, entire. So it's basically Jenny A McIntyre. We'll put a link to it. Shall we do that?
Yeah, the link will be in the description.
I bet it's not even that now, is it? It's going to be something like Jenny McIntyre 89234 or something.
Oh dear me. Cool. Well, go follow Jenny on Twitter, because I mean, I for one really enjoy the stuff that you post, and we'll link all of the appropriate stuff below for you to go and check out. But thank you, Jenny, again, and thanks to everyone that's watched this podcast. It's the first of our Be Inspired series. We hope that you feel inspired. I'm sure that you probably are after Jenny. You're just a wonderful human being.
I mean, I want to be like, well done for getting this far. Like, well done for staying. If you got to this point, that is your achievement for today. So you can pat yourself on the back.
Absolutely. Can you believe we got through this whole podcast without mentioning Don and Bobo?
I can't actually. That's just. And you're wearing your Don hat and everything.
I actually am. It was purposefully done at a very last minute. But anyway, yeah, it's been an absolute treat, and I'm sure we'll be doing stuff in the future.
Definitely. It's been a pleasure. It's so nice for you to ask me. I was like, I feel important.
You are important.
And not just because my mum says.
Anyway, thank you everyone for watching. Leave a like on this podcast if you enjoyed. Comment down below if you really enjoyed and you'd like to just have a chat with either of us. We'll meet you down there in the comments. Subscribe to the channel because there's loads more content coming your way in the future months. And until the next time, guys, we'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Cancel and continue.